Okay. In order to do today's daf, let's turn to daf Pei Hey. Pei Hey Amid Beis. Pei Hey Amid Beis. Hanosin es Eruva Beis Shar. This is all we really need. If you put your Erev in a Beis Shar is a watchman's. A little watchman house. No one lives in that house. If you put your Erev in there or in Achsadra, it's not an Erev. In other words, that's not considered a house that you can place your Erev in. Nor if somebody lives in that house, would they ask you? Because again, it's not considered a house. That's an important nakuda. We can now turn back to today's daf, which is Ayin Hey Amid Beis. Ayin Hey Amid Beis. And we're holding about 8 lines from the bottom. Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Shmuel. Okay, of course, before we start even talking, we might as well bring it out. Here you go. You have 8 houses. A chutzah going into a mavoi. Count 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 houses, right? Listen to this law. The only one who has to make an Erev is him. This one. Why? Because since he has to walk through here, these are all considered Beis Shar for him. These all have the din of a Beit Shar, of a gate, an entranceway. A Beit Shar. I said a watchman's tower. It's like an entrance to an area. Since he has to get to here, 9 through 1 are considered for him a Beit Shar. So therefore, the only person who has to give food for the Erev is him. That's according to one opinion. The second opinion is he also has to give. This one also. And the machlokas being contingent upon whether Beit Shar is for one person or Beit Shar for more than one. Let's see it inside the Gemara. Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Shmuel. Yud bottom, you got 10 houses. Zelef Nemizeh, one inside the other. Penimi Noisin is Ruvai. The Penimi goes ahead and gives the Erev. The one that's innermost gives the Erev. V'dayoy, and that's enough. Rabbi Yochanan Amar, Afilu Chitzain. Rabbi Yochanan says, Afilu the Chitzain gives the Erev, meaning Chitzain means this one. It doesn't mean this Chitzain. It doesn't mean number 1. It means number 9. Says the Gemara, 1 second. Chitzain shall Chitzain Beishari. What are you telling me? This one is a Beit Shar. Everything's going through here. So of course you don't have to go ahead and give an Erev. And for the Gemara, Chitzain shall Pnimi. It means the Chitzain over here. So what's the machlokes? According to one opinion, only this one gives. According to the other opinion, this one also gives. What's the machlokes contingent upon? The Maikamiflagi. Marsava Shmuel holds Beishar the Yachid Shmei Beishar. The Beishar of a Yachid of one individual is a Beishar, and therefore only that individual gives. And Marsava Rabbi Yochanan holds Lo Shmei Beishar. You need at least 2 people. Therefore, both 10 and 9 have to give, because you can't have a Beit Shar for just number 10 because it's only one individual. Okay, next case. You got a chutzah here, and 3 houses in between. This one wants to make an Erev. This one wants to make an Erev, but they go ahead and they put the Erev in here. They're putting the Erev in the middle. So number 1 doesn't have to give an Erev because number 1 is a Beit Shar for this chutzah. This chutzah, number 2 doesn't have to give an Erev. Number 3 doesn't have to give an Erev because it's a Beit Shar for this chutzah. And since we're putting the Erev in here, they don't have to give it. Why? Because that's where the Erev is, in the house. So automatically, so Mela, no one has to go ahead and give an Erev over there. It's very interesting. Let's see the Gemara. Says the Gemara. Amarav, Beis Chatzeros, V'gimel Bottom Einehem. You have 2 Chatzeros and 2 houses in between. Zeh Ba Derech Zeh, V'noisen Eruva B'zeh. One chutzah goes through house number 1 and puts it in house number 2. House number 3 goes through chutzah number 2 goes through house number 3 and puts it in number 2. Each house 1 and 3 become Beit Shar to each chutzah. So by putting the bread in the middle house, he doesn't have to give anything. So It's very interesting. Number 1 and 3 don't have to go ahead and be mishtatif because they have a din of beit shar. Number 3 doesn't have to give bread because why? Because they are that's where the house with the Erev is in. So the 2 chatzeros, they pass through and they put it in. So none of the 3 have to go ahead and give. None of the 3 have to go ahead and give. Now the next case is a little more sophisticated. The next case is a little more sophisticated. It's the following case. You got 2 houses. This person is putting the Erev over here, and this chutz is putting the Erev over here. They're not putting the Erev in the house next to them. They're putting in the house different. Okay. So now, what does the Gemara say? In this case, let's see this. Let's see what happens over here. Rachba was checking the Chachamim out in this case. He was checking them out in this case. Beis Chatzeros ubeis Bata Benayim. We got 2 Chatzeros guys, and the 2 houses between them. 2 houses between them. Zeh Baruch Derech Zeh. This one goes through that house and puts the Erev over here. Zeh Baruch Derech Zeh and puts the Erev over here. Now, what's the question? Kone Ruvoy Loy. Are the Kone Erev or not? Now, if this is a beit, if you put this is a beit shar and this is a beit shar, it's not going to work, correct? Guys, you can't put your Erev in a beit shar. And if this is a house and this is a house, it's not going to work because this guy didn't want the house to be here and this guy didn't want the house to be here. The question is, can this be a beit shar for one guy and a house for the other guy? Can this be a beit shar for one guy and a house for the other guy? That's the Gemara Shaila. Says the Gemara. Mi mashvile, do we say legabe the high bias that this house over here, let's say the house over here, guys. We'll look at the picture. Do we say the house over here? Legabe high bias, legabe the high beit shar. Do we view this house as a house, and for the other guy a beit shar? And conversely, legabe high beit shar, legabe the high beit shar, legabe high the bias. Do we view? In other words, can we mutually have them have 2 identities? If we can, then it'll be an Erev. If they're exclusive identities, then not. Why? A beit shar, I can't put mine in a beit shar. So once this has a din of a beit shar, because this is going through, and once this has a din of a beit shar, because this one's going through, I can't make it into an Erev. So that was the Gemara Shaila. So Amalei, the Chachamim told Rachba, Shneim leikonu Erev. Neither Chatzer requires an Erev, because Manashach. Beit shar mashvilei, if it's a beit shar, what's the halacha? Nois neruvu beit shar, achsadru mepesed, as we saw in the Mishnah Daf Pei Hey, ain't an Erev, it's not an Erev. And bias mashvilei, and if you make it into a house, komatalti lebayis lemarvlei, then you're carrying through a house that you had no right to carry through. So if this is a beit shar, you can't put the Erev there. If it's a house for this one, right? No, this one's putting it over here. I'm carrying through a house that I had no right to carry it through. So either way, it's not an Erev. For the Gemara, you say that you can't view this as one. In other words, you can't view it as one or the other. It's either one or the other, but it can't be both. I'll show you that Bein Hashmashas could be both. Umayshna mid the Rava. What's different than Rava? Dama Rava. Amalo Shnayim. If 2 people said to somebody, "Save Arav Elenu, go make an Erev for us." Now, le'echad Arav milav miyayom. One he made an Erev while it was still Friday. Le'echad Arav la Ben Hashmashas. The other one he made it during Ben Hashmashas. Now, and what happened? It got eaten up. The one that he made on Friday afternoon got eaten up in Hashmashas. And the one that he made Ben Hashmashas, it got eaten up after dark. So now, Shneim Kona Eruv, they're both Kona the Eruv. Why? Look at Rashi. Shneim Kona Eruv, says Rashi, Alma Mishum the Ben Hashmashas Safiku. Since Ben Hashmashas is a suffix, the suffix the Devrayim Lahakel, and the suffix of the Rabbanon we're being Makel. Suffix the Rabbanon we will be Makel. The Erev midivreihem, and Eruv is Devrayim. Who legabe high shenachal Eruv Ben Hashmashas, regarding the one that it was considered Ben Hashmashas, guys. Mashvina le'laila, will say it was eaten up at night. In other words, he made the Erev Ben Hashmashas. We'll say it got it got eaten up at night already, and it was kind before. But I mean, it kvar kana eruv. Well, it got a high she'irav ben hashmashas, and the one that he made it ben hashmashas, mashvinu layoim. We'll say 1 second. Bein Hashmashis is day. But Dayan Havile Shos look like Shvisa, and he has time for Yikaina. In other words, we can view Bein Hashmashis Lakul in both directions. If necessary, we'll view it as Bein Hashmashis, as daytime. If it's necessary, we'll view it at nighttime. So for the one that got eaten up during the day, we'll say it's night. For the one that got eaten up, the Bein Hashmashis will say it's day. So why don't we say the same thing by the house? For the one who needs it as a house, it'll be a house. For the one who needs it as a shop, why don't we view it directionally in both directions the same way we view Bein Hashmashis? Right? I'm not taking any questions tonight, okay? I'm sorry. You forgive me. Says the Gemara Vaita. There's a difference. Says the Gemara, what's the difference? Umayshna de Rava, we said that already. And for the Gemara, Hachi Hashta, you can't compare the two. Hachi Hashta, there's no comparison. You can't compare the two. Hasam, Safik Yimama, Safik Laila. Bein Hashmashis, we don't know what it is. It's either daytime or it's nighttime. It's a suffix. So therefore, loy minkara milsa, when you go ahead and play it directionally, guys, really what you're doing over here is wrong. You're playing both sides of the fence, correct? You're saying for this guy it's daytime, and for this guy it's nighttime. You could say it's a galechta. We're making fun of the whole din of Erev. We're what they're saying. Give me enough money, I'll give you a heta, right? We're playing both sides of the coin. But since Bein Hashmashis is a suffix, it's not recognizable. You're playing both sides of the coin. Aval hacha, by this case where you're using the house, it's in front of you, the house, and you're going to tell me for this guy's a house and this guy's a beit shar. You can't do that. You can't play both sides of the fence. L'gabe high base bias, l'gabe high bias, l'gabe high base shar, l'gabe high nami base shar. In other words, if it's a base shar for one, it's a base shar for the other, and you can't play both sides of the fence. That's the conclusion. The Gemara concludes. Okay, Meir, what's your question? Meir, are you still there? What was your question?
I just didn't understand why they said Rashi said that midurem you're mako. Is it Rosh Hashanah, so you're not mako by a suffix in Rosh Hashanah?
That's only Indian Tumah. That's only like Saita. Suffix Sveka is by suffix Tumah.
Not generalized.
No, suffix Tumah b'shus hayachid Sveka Tumah. We learned from Saita.
Only by Tumah
that is correct.
Okay, that answers the question.
Okay, I'm sorry. I was curt with you before. Do you forgive me?
Okay, yes, of course.
Okay. How's Montreal's draft pick this year, Mayor?
That's what you're asking. I have no idea who they.
The Rangers drafted a French Canadian, Mayor.
Yes, I know that. The Shears going to start speaking French now.
Mayor, please mute yourself. Hajjan lecha hadar, hajjan lecha hadar, hajjan lecha hadar. I don't want any more jokes, Mayor.
Blaze, I'm not a big Eurotite guy, but it is Mayor Shapiro's Eurotite tonight. So
really?
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, Benji, you forgot the anniversary today. 24 years ago. You got to come home. Mommy's having a baby.
Oh yeah, no, I thought about it. It wasn't raining today.
My son was born Parshas Noach 24 years ago on Shabbos, the same date. We're in the middle of Shemona Esrei, upstairs in Avis Chesed. In Mamish the middle of Shemona Esrei, someone saying Moedim Yitzi, who's now 31, at the time was 7, walks in and says, "Mommy says you have to come home now. She's having a baby." She was 2 weeks early.
Everyone stopped chuckling, right?
And I was giving Chas and Torah Kiddush. I missed the Kiddush.
Yeah. You came home wet.
And it poured. It was a nor'easter. It was pouring.
I remember that.
I walked back to say share. I was so wet. It was unbelievable.
My offer. Where's my offer?
24 years. What? Pashas Noach?
24 years ago.
So you remember it poured. It was a nor'easter. You remember, Yankel? It was pouring. Okay. Anyway, good times. Okay. Yeah. New parak. Erev Chatzeros. Again, we usually deal with guys within the chutzner itself. You have a few bias in the chutzner. Each one goes ahead, puts in one house. It becomes one. Great. We also said there's another type of Erev Chatzeros where you're merging Chatzeros. You're merging two courtyards together. If you have two courtyards that are adjacent to each other and they have a chaloin in the middle or a door in the middle, we've been seeing many times throughout the Masechta, you're able to go ahead and either make separate eruvim within your own chatzeros, or be ma'arav the chatzeros together. So that's what we're going to be discussing in this Mishnah. Says the Mishnah, chaloin shebein beis chatzeros, the chaloin that's between two chatzeros, dalet al dalet, if it's 4 tefachim by 4 tefachim, v'tzoich asara within 10 tefachim. In other words, it's not higher than 10 tefachim from the ground, and it's 4 by 4. Ma'arvim shnayim, they can go ahead and make an erev together. They can make it, they can ma'arv shnayim separate. They can be ma'arv as 2 separate, or v'mratzu, if they want, ma'arvim echad, they can make 1 big chutzner. Pachas midalad adalid, oila maila miyud, if the chaloin, if the window is less than 4 by 4, or it's higher than 10, then ma'arvim shnayim, they're forced to make 2 separate eruvim, the ma'arvin echad, and they can't go ahead and make 1 erev, okay? And they won't be able to make 1 erev. Now, when it says 4 by 4, we had early in the Masechta Machlokas, way back when, I don't expect anyone to remember this, what's the share of lovewood? So we all say as long as it's less than 3. There was a shittas of Shimon Gamliel less than 4. The Havamina of the Gemara is that this is a din in lovewood. Lema Tanan Sama Kareb Shimon Gamliel. When it says that it's 4 by 4, that it's a din of lovewood, that it's like a Shimon Gamliel. Because according to the Chachamim, it will be even 3. The Amar Kol Pachas Midalad Kilavad Nami. Says, I feel the tamer Krabban, and I can't like Plig Rabban Leather B'Shem in Levud by lovewood. Avlin Pischa, feel Rabban Maida, the Kedalad Dalad Chashiv, Eloid the Chashiv. In other words, don't mix up the two. The size, the shear of a chaloin is a din of chashivas. We know that 4 by 4 is chashiv. This is not a din of lovewood, viewing it as open or closed. That we're not discussing that. That's a separate din. This is totally a din in what's considered a pesach or not. 4 by 4 less than 10 is a pesach. Very good. Says the Gemara Vaita, pachas midalit. Now it said the Mishnah can be redundant, fellas. Look at the Mishnah. Chalon shebein beis chatzeros. If it's 10 before, it's good. And then it says, and if not, if it's less, if it's if it's less than 4 by 4, then you can't. You just told me it's got to be 10 by 4. We know the Mishnah always is mekatzer its lashon. Very, very simple. So why do you have to tell me the obvious? If you told me 10 by 4, automatically I know above 10 and less than 4 is not going to work. It's got to be 10 and 4, not above 10 and not less than 4. But so why did Mishnah find it necessary to say above 10 and less than 4? Says the Gemara Pshita, it's Pashit. Kivin amadal adal b'seich hasara b'meila no yadana de pachas midal l'mayla miyad loy. It's the obvious. And if the Gemara Kamashmalan is the Chiddush, Taima, listen to this, guys. The Kula l'mayla miyud. You need the whole 4 by 4 above 10. Aval miksasei b'toich yud. If even any part of it was within 10, then ma'arvin shnayim, then you'll be able to combine. Again, so in other words, if it's anywhere, you don't need all 4 by 4. Here's your 10. As long as a little bit, even if 1 tefach of 4 by 4 is within the 10, you would be able to use it. It's only, if this is 10, it's only when the 4 by 4 is above 10. But if anything of the 4 by 4 is within the 10, you would be able to make an erev. That's the Kiddush that you're hearing in the Sefer. Tanina, this is a raya, the way we just learned Pshat. Lahadatan Rabbanon, to that the Rabbanon learn. Kula l'mayla miyud, if all the 4 by 4 is above yud, right? And part of it is within 10. Kula b'tech yud. U'miksasei l'mayla miyud, ma'arvin shnayim, v'mratzu ma'arvin echad. So it says the Gemara, Hashta Kula l'mayla miyud, if the whole thing is above yud, and part of it is with 10 amit ma'arvin shnayim, v'mratzu ma'arvin echad, Kula b'tech yud, miksasei l'mayla miboy. Guys, if even part of it is good, why do you have to tell me if the whole thing is good? What are you telling me? It says, you're telling me not only this, but even this. Even not only this, but even this. It's the derech in the Mishnah sometimes to say that. Just 1 second. Okay. The next piece of Gemara is math. We've done this many times, trying to figure out circles and squares. In other words, we've done it. So here's the din. how big a circle do you need to get a square of 4 by 4 in the circle, right? You have circular windows, you have a fancy contractor, and they put a circle between. What's the circumference of that circle? It's going to be 24. It's going to be 24. We'll do the math as we go along, okay? We'll do the math as we go along. Says the Gemara. Rabbi Yochanan, Chaloin Ogel, a circular window, you need in its circumference, you need 24, and a shnayim and a little bit should be within 10 of the ground. If you square off this circle of 24 circumference, you'll end up with a little bit. All right, michti. If you go ahead, we have a 3-to-1 ratio between the circumference and the diameter. You have a 3-to-1 ratio between the circumference and the diameter. So if that's the case, 4 times 3 is 12. Why do you need 24? Good, says the Gemara. Yesh by Baruch Tefach, betrays the Sagi, it should be enough 12. Please turn the page. Says the Gemara, Hani Mili Bi Guloi. That's only if you limit the dimensions to an ugel, to a circle. Bi Guloi, Aval Rivua, if you square it off, Be'inin Tfei. You need that the perimeter is more. The perimeter is more than again, because you have to add the corners, guys. Remember, when you're squaring something off, you're taking a circle and you're squaring it off. Now, Michti, Kama Meravua Yeser al Ugel. So we have a circumference of 4 by 4 using the 3-to-1. We have a total lot of 12. But this is a quarter more. So just add a quarter more. In other words, take the 3, guys, take the 12, divide it into 4, 4, and 4, correct? That's 3. Add another 4, add a quarter, that'll give you 16. This is what we call milabar. You're taking another 4. That's why I always tell you, when it says you add a chaimish, it doesn't mean a chaimish. It means a quarter. We're taking, in other words, we're taking that and dividing it into 4 pieces and adding another third. So this is a 4-to-3 ratio. The simple way to do it is take the 3, add a 4th, and now instead of 12, you'll have 16 because you have 4 chalakim of 4. Says the Gemara, Michti Kamaravu Yesa al Agel is Ravia. So b'shitz the sagi, it should be enough with 16. Guys, you good so far? Why do you need 24? Again, what we're doing is we're asking how round does the circle have to be? If you would take a measuring stick, a string, and put it around the circle, how long would that string have to be? That if you would make it into a square, it would be 4 by 4. We're saying the circumference has to be 24. Got it? We're saying it has to be, that string has to be 24. Right now we're saying l'chorah 16 should be enough. Fred Gemara, Hani Mili, Iguloi Denafik Migav Revua. Hani Mili, that's when the circle is in the square, right? That's when the circle's in the square. We need the circle around the square, guys. We need the circle around the square. You need more, guys. You have 4 by 4, but you need the circle around. Now that's going to be 1.5. It's going to be let's just finish up and I'll do the math for you. My time and the kind of the edges. What is we always say pi? What's the diagonal of a square? It's 1 2/5. So if you have 4 times 1 2/5 gives you 5.6, right? 5.6. So now, if the circumference is 3-to-1, 3 times 5.6 is 16.8. So it says the Gemara that it should be enough shipsa lacking 1/5. So why do we need 24? I should need what? 16. I'm giving you 16.8. They said 16 and lacking 1/5. Rabbi Yochanan, Kidaina the Kisri, Vimila Karabonin, the Ksari, Dome Gula Migav Ravua, Ravia Migav Igu Palka. Basically, the perimeter of a square inscribed in a circle is smaller by a half. So if the perimeter of the square, you take 16, right? So it's 1.5. 1.5 times 16, guys, is 24. Do the math. That's the okay. Very good. It's very good for me. I'm sure you don't mind going weiter. Says the Gemara. Pachas midalid al dalid. Rav Nachman. We said if it's less than 4, then it doesn't work, and within 10. This is when you need it within 10. But let's say it's a chalon between 2 houses. Then nami. Even if it's above 10, it's going to work. Why? Because we're going to view the house as full. I wonder if they have a picture. I didn't look for a picture of this. Let's see if they have something. He did all the math for you. I saved you from all of this. There you go. Okay, this is if it's between the houses, we're going to see above 10. But if it's in the houses, guys, even if it's above 10, we'll view this as full, and you can go over here. If it's between the chutz, so let's say out over here, then it's got to be within 10. Over here, we'll view the house as full. So even if it's above 10, you'll be able to go ahead and combine the two. Says the Gemara. Rav Nachman, Leishanu, that has to be within 10. Ella chaloin shebein beis chatzeres, ava chaloin shebein beis batim, afilu ma'alim esar nami. And ratzal arav ma'arvin echad. My timer, basic command of mal yadami. We'll view the house as full, and we'll view it as filled up to 10. Esav Rav Nachman, echli chaloin shebein beis chatzeres, vechli chaloin shebein beis batim, vechli chaloin shebein beis aliyos. Guys, chaloin between 2 aliyos. Right, a chaloin between 2 aliyos over there. Gimel, chaloin between 2 aliyos. Beis Gagin, Daled, guys, good. You worked the way up, you see? Aliyah, Gag, whether no matter all these cases, so how can you tell me that what? That in a house, you're going to view it as even above 10. Here you see that what? That it has to be within 10. And for the Gemara, that line is only going on Chatzeres. It's not going on the house. It's going on the Chutzah. The Chutzah has to be within 10. The house can even be above 10. Fred Gemara for Echad Likatani means Echad means they all have the same din. Echad this, Echad this, Echad this, Echad this. So guys, look at the picture. Echad this, Echad this, Echad this has to be within 10. So how can you tell me with the house it can be above 10? It's mashma that what? It's saying it has to be the same. You can't say it's only the Chutzah. It's only going the Chutzah. So that the Gemara answers. Tirgumu adalid al dalid. There were 2 dinim said, guys. There's a din within 10 and a din of 4x4. So the universal din, the common denominator between all of them, is only on the 4 part. 4x4 they all have to be. But the Indian 10 they are not equal. By chutzner it has to be within 10. But in the house itself, it could be above 10 because we're going to view the house as full. Okay, that's this, guys, over here. See this lul? This thing this I think that's it. This is it over here. This is a lul. Now, do you need to keep a ladder here to go ahead? Let's say a person lives in here. Let's say a person lives in here. Can they combine? Are they considered combined or not? Says Gemara. Boy mine Rav Nachman. Lul apsuach min bayis la'aliyah. Sarach sulam kavur la'tiroi. Do you need a set in order to combine them? Would you have to have a ladder set over here? You know, like you have you pull down the attic, some of those ladders you pull down. Would you have to have something like that? When we say a house is full, that's from the side. Guys, look. Over here, we'll say that it's command malya when it goes on the side. But do we say that when it's in the middle? Do we say the house? Do we view as this is being full vis-a-vis the top as well? When the opening is in the middle of the ceiling, maybe there's no difference. So Amalei, ain't it sarich? You don't need a ladder. You don't need a ladder. You don't need a kavuah ladder. Hasulam aroi, but at least a ladder, potential ladder, you would need. Itmar. Rav Yosef, Rav Yumi, Rav Nachman, echad sulam kavuah, vechad sulam aroi, ain't it sarich. Fellas, you don't need anything. This is just as is. You don't need anything. It will be considered as what? As a combined without even anything there. I wish you all a very, very good day. Good night. Shvua Tov. And thank you for listening.
Good talk. Thank you. Thank you very much. Good night.
Cutting out.
Have a good walk, Rabbi Scott.
Thank you.